I've seen probably in this building a couple hundred workouts, and that was as impressive as any workout as I've seen in here. He does a lot of things. He can really shoot the ball. He's going to play multiple positions. Nate and I were just talking about how many positions he could potentially play. And in the West, he's kind of that new age 4 for me that can spread the floor, that can shoot, can cause matchup problems. And when you look at Kevin, you think the kid was built to play basketball. I mean, he is built to play basketball. He's long, he's athletic, he is committed to being a great player. And what we saw really impressed us today. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Durant on ESPN. How would you compare his workout to Greg's back in Wednesday?
Well, I think it's difficult to compare apples to apples, only because they play different positions. You know, Greg is such a powerful center, an inside presence, whereas Kevin is a perimeter player who can play a little bit on the inside. And you're looking at a guy who is a physical specimen in Greg versus a very skilled guy in Kevin. And so the comparisons are very difficult, and that makes our job a little more difficult because we're not comparing apples to apples. But both players are in the mix for number one. We're going to have a long discussions over the next few days. And I was telling one of the scouts, I slept real good last night, and I'm not so sure I'm going to sleep the rest until draft day. So it was a great workout.
The pre-draft workouts, there were critics that said that Greg's maybe a little bit slower than some of the others or couldn't bench that 185. When you see him in person, tell me what those stats and that workout means to him.
For him, it means nothing, in my opinion. You know, whether he can bench 185 pounds, his body of work in college and what he just did out here, as a matter of fact, I think we could turn that into a positive, because once he does get stronger and is able to play, you know, more positions effectively and not get pushed around maybe as much, maybe that's a positive.
Joe Becker from Channel 8. Kevin,
Hi, Joe.
how you doing?
Good.
So did he surprise you today then with the workout? Were you surprised? I mean, now you've seen all this tape, but were you actually surprised how?
What I think you get surprised is at his skill level. I mean, there really is nothing he can't do on the basketball court. He handles the ball, he shoots it from deep. Nate and I were talking, he could be a pick and roll player. You don't see many 6'10" primary ball handlers that can play pick and roll. And so, yeah, there were some things we saw out there that maybe we didn't see in the game. And that's what the workout is for, is because in the games, the coaches are always trying to get to his main strengths. And out here, we're trying to look at everything. What can he do? What can he do? And we were surprised a little bit what he can do.
Is it safe to say that he may be a little more impressive simply because of the position he plays in this one-on-one setting versus a center that maybe it's tougher to get a feel when there's no one going against him?
No question. Absolutely. Skill guys, it's easier to show out in an individual workout. But he showed us some athletic ability too. Am I answering your question, Sue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How big is this going to play? You talked about you already saw what you needed to see for the most part in film. The workouts obviously sounded that Kevin was more impressive.
Right.
How much of a factor is this going to play, or were your minds kind of already made up a little bit?
No, we've said this, and as a matter of fact, we talked about it yesterday. Nate, Paul, myself, and all the scouts were in the room. We promised ourselves that we would just, let's keep an open mind. And now that we've kind of gone through the process, we're going to meet with Kevin tonight, see what he is as a person, and then the decision-making process really kicks in for us.
Does it make a difference how this guy fits into your team, Coach, as far as what he can do versus what Greg Oden can do with the roster that you already have assembled?
Yeah, we'll certainly look at that, and we'll talk about the future of the organization, and all of that plays a part in making the decision. Which one of these guys? Both guys have amazing talent, and unlike Kevin last night, I didn't sleep a wink. I don't know why I was so nervous last night, but I was up all night thinking about this workout, and Kevin is a talented player, and he does a lot, and he'll bring an awful lot to a team. So yeah, we will look at the fact that one guy's a wing and one guy's a power player. He's a center, and see which one of those players fits best with the direction we want to go for the future.
Kevin, Dan Christopherson from Point TV, right here. You have, I think, 6 days now. Talk about the process from here forward, and how close would you say you are to being ready as an organization to make the choice? How close are you? Or is there
We're not ready to make that choice right now. I can honestly say that. We owe it to this organization to make the best choice and not the immediate choice. And so, the way I make the best decisions in my mind, and I think both of us, or all of us, is that we sleep on it, we let our mind kind of cook on it, and we're going to have a healthy debate. I can tell you this, there's not a consensus, nor do we want a consensus right now. I think we owe it to ourselves to have a very lively debate, to disagree about some things, to agree about some things, and then ultimately unite in a decision. And that won't happen today, it's not going to happen tomorrow. When it happens, it will happen. And I don't want to force the process, and I want it to happen organically and naturally.
Talk about the next 6 days and just a lot of internal meetings, a lot of late nights. What's it going to be like?
We'll go back and we'll try to identify strengths and weaknesses. And I've always believed that you take what you're about as an organization, how you want to play, how Nate feels philosophically, use those as caveats, and they trickle down and help you make the decision. And now that we've had exposure to both the kids, I think we've got a better understanding. I have no doubt that they're both great kids, and we talk about this all the time, and I feel like I overemphasize it, but I believe this very strongly, that our culture is what we're about. And both these kids fit the culture. So that excludes that as a potential warning. So you take that aside. Now we're trying to find who gets us to a championship. Which player can get us to a championship? And we're not with a decision yet.
Scott Lynn from KEX Radio, question for Mr. Allen. To see the workout today, it went so well. How much fun is this for you, and are you excited by it all?
You can't not be excited. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity, as I've said before, for the franchise. And both these players are so young. You have to try to project 3, 4, 5 years from now and think about what kind of team you can build around them with the players we have and the players we might be able to get in the future. And that's just a very, very exciting prospect. And you think about Kevin Durant. I mean, you look at him, you think he might be able to lead the league in scoring before too many years have passed. You think about Greg Oden, you think he might have the top center in the league in a few years. So those are very, very exciting prospects. Either way, we end up making our decision.
Business aside, the basketball fan in you has to make it exciting for you.
Oh yeah, I should have emphasized that. I mean, I love going to games, especially watching young players develop, and whoever we pick, it's going to be so much fun these next few years watching these players, expand their games, meld with the other players on the team, and continue to build the chemistry that Kevin's talked about. So it's just going to be so much fun in the Rose Garden the next few years. I'm just about done jumping out of my skin, even just waiting for Summer League to start, because we're going to see one of these guys in Summer League. It's just I guess it's just over. It's like
July 1 we'll start Summer League practice.
It's not that long from now. We'll actually be able to see them play in Blazer uniforms. So that's great.
Kevin, on the personal level, both players have said that they would love to be the obviously, but even Greg Oden said on Wednesday, you're not. How do you feel for these kids on a personal level, not just the professional level?
Well, I've always said that the humanistic part of us wants to please and wants to pick both these guys. I mean, I'm sitting over there and I'm thinking, how in the world can we have both these guys? I'm selfish, and they both look good in Portland Trailblazer uniforms. But we owe it to ourselves to make the best decision. Unfortunately, we can only make one decision, and you look at this as a process, but you also, I've told the scouts, it's going to be hard seeing another guy in a Seattle Supersonics uniform. That's going to be very difficult. And that's why it's so important that we make the right decision. And I think this is really important. I don't think the right decision happens in the first year. You won't know the first year whether you made the right decision. I think you'll know 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make the pick that's going to be the rookie of the year. We didn't try to do that with Brandon Roy. We tried to pick the best players, and the right pick won't emerge for a long time. It may be written about immediately, but I don't think the right choice will emerge until you see the teams getting into the championship level.
Coach, what do you tell the player that doesn't pick number one?
I probably won't see him until we play against him, so I won't have to make any comments on that. You know, as Kevin mentioned, it is difficult, and it's my first time meeting Kevin, and he seems to be a very humble player also, just as Greg was, and two high character players, and you know, it will be difficult, but you know, just as they said in their interviews, we'll be excited with one of these guys, and I'm sure they will be excited to join their new team also.
Kevin, you mentioned the other day that you were expecting Kevin Durant to come in and be an assassin. What does that word, basketball-wise, mean to you, and did you see that today in this workout?
I think he's got that a little bit of a killer instinct. I mean, you see it in the workouts. You know, when he was doing a little one-on-one against Bill Bano, who may be the worst defender in the United States. Where is he? I mean, he's out there to try to kill people. He's got that eye of the tiger that's really special, and that makes it difficult because, you know, how do you quantify that? And that was apparent in today's workout when he missed a couple shots. He was mad at himself. I guess what it means internally for me is that he has very, very high expectations. He loves basketball, and he's going to reach his full potential. There's no doubt about it.
Nate, you talked the other day about watching Greg Oden and visualizing what he might be able to do for you. Did you find yourself doing that with Kevin Durant today? And you've seen a lot of NBA players and played a lot against a lot of great players. Does he remind you of a certain player?
His versatility, he can play 4 positions. I think you can allow him to bring the ball and play at the top of the key with the ball. He can be a big 2. I think his natural position will be the 3 because he can shoot the ball extremely well, and his ability, his length, his size will allow him to play the 4 position. The one thing that, you know, with the bigs, you try and look at their feet and their hands, and with the skill position, what you're looking at with those guys is speed, ball handling skills, their ability to shoot the ball, reaction. You know, we put him through some defensive drills just to see his footwork, technique there. He's going to be fine. He's going to do a good job. As far as comparing him, you know, Rashard Lewis is a similar comparison in a sense, the length of the 2. They both are small forwards. You know, he handles the ball a little better than Rashard Lewis did when he came out. But Nowinski, that type of guy that can spread the floor and pull a big out on the perimeter. You know, I think one of our scouts asked me today, you know, if you don't take him, how would you guard him? And he is one of those guys that it doesn't make a difference who's guarding him. You know, he can take a small player inside, and he can take a big player outside. And I think guys like, you know, you're talking about a Nowinski type of player that can get his shot off anywhere. And, you know, he's a very talented player.
Coach, you compared him to Rashard Lewis. Kevin, you said you wish you could have both of these guys. Does it come into play that there are guys like Rashard Lewis or Josh Howard, Richard Jefferson that might be a little bit easier to go get in free agency or find than 7-foot franchise centers?
I can't comment on free agents. I'd like to, but I can't.
The position itself, is it safe to say that it's easier
there's
to go
more
out
I see what you're
and
saying.
find more small forwards or versatile guys like that than franchise centers?
I think traditionally the answer is yes, but there becomes a point where the talent is so overwhelming that it's easy to say that this kid is that kind of a talent, and so you don't want to pass on an incredible, we call it A+ players. There's not many A+ players come into this league, regardless of position, so you don't want to pass on that kind of a player.
Coach, these turnaround jumpers, jumpers, talk about that, what you saw him on the court.
he was able to do that. When I talked to his coach, the one thing they felt he needed to improve on was his back to the basket game. So they tried to post him up a little bit more, and towards the end of the season, he was able to go down there and be effective down there. So we ran him through some drills to see his back to the basket game, and we played a little, token defense on him. He's 6'10". He can get his shot off. Whenever you have a guy like that with that type of length, they are always open. And he can fade away to his right, fade away to over his left shoulder. He can face you up. The fact that he can put the ball on the floor and create his own shot just makes him, even more dangerous play on the perimeter. So there's not many things he can't do. He is a basketball player, and he showed that today.
Great, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we'll bring Kevin Durant up.
I do want to say one thing, that Aaron Goodwin is here, and he's his agent. He was allowed us to have the workout, and we're very thankful for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.